Those who watched AEW's debut pay-per-view Double or Nothing will distinctly remember that during AEW Executive Vice President Cody Rhodes' entrance, a Triple H-esque throne appeared on the stage. And if you were unsure as to whether it really was a reference to him, its backing blatantly resembled the King of Kings Iron Cross logo. During the entrance, some fans may have thought Cody would have simply sat down on it, symbolizing he is the new King of Kings, but instead, Cody grabbed the Cerebral Assassin's signature weapon and proceeded to destroy it, sending no doubt a powerful message to WWE, with many believing it to be the start of a war between two wrestling promotions. Whether or not it was to instigate a war, the message was undoubtedly a response to DX's remarks about AEW at this year's WWE Hall of Fame ceremony, as during D-Generation X's induction, Triple H started the jokes mentioning that putting EVP at the start of anyone's name can make them look important. AEW of course has four, with Cody, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks all sharing the same title. Triple H wouldn't stop there, however, as he remarked on the new promotion being a pissant company, and another reference was made by Shawn Michaels, who thanked Billy Gunn for being all in. It's been nearly a week since AEW's pay-per-view aired, and we had no response from Triple H regarding the throne reference until yesterday, when he was asked on his comments regarding the blatant shot and if WWE has any intention to retaliate at the NXT TakeOver 25 media call, saying, "You know, look, the Hall of Fame to me, there was a moment. Billy's there. There was kind of this sort of moment where if you don't sort of say there's an elephant in the room, then everyone's gonna say, well, why did they mention the elephant in the room?" It was nothing more than that, and to be honest, with DX, if you don't sort of do that, then we're kinda not doing what we do, and trust me, a lot of that also wasn't necessarily laid out and planned, and things kinda just went along at the WWE Hall of Fame. So what they are, you know, for me, I don't even think about it. To be honest, for me, when it comes to this takeover, I just want to put out the best product possible. I'm not focused on anybody else. I'm not thinking about anybody else's creative, or what they said or didn't say, or anything else. To me, I'm focused on, this Saturday at TakeOver 25. I'm focused on this Saturday at TakeOver 25 and the brand, and making everybody bigger stars coming out of it, putting on the best show we possibly can for fans, and continuing to grow the brand. It seems like Triple H has no intention of instigating a war between the two promotions, and it delights us more that he's focused on bringing us, the fans, a great show, rather than engaging in a needless mudslinging match. However, in the past, Vince McMahon hasn't been afraid to mock his competition, and those who were watching during the early days of the Monday Night War might recall Vince taking blatant jabs at WCW with his billionaire Ted skids. They did, however, backfire, as Bischoff and Ted Turner reportedly found them funny. It also brought no interest into the WWF. As cringy as those skits are in present day, and to be honest, they weren't all that funny back then, a little mudslinging might be good for both promotions. Sami Zayn dropping the AEW line on this week's edition of Monday Night Raw actually had a positive effect on AEW, as thousands took to Google searching the term AEW, which resulted in the promotion trending at the number 2 spot and reaching its highest search interest of all time. In fact, in our opinion, it would be smart for AEW to get a few more shots in, tempting WWE to retaliate. Speaking of Sami Zayn and that AEW line, it seems that it was scripted, but Vince was still furious at the reference, as it wasn't supposed to be used later on in the show. Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer recently spoke on the situation, saying, "What happened? I mean, what I can tell you for sure, and I don't know all the circumstances and what happened during the day, but what I know for sure is that Sami was under the impression that he was supposed to say the line about AEW. He did not go into business for himself. He did not decide it would be something edgy, but he was told that the line was okay. By the time Raw went on the air, that line was not okay. However, things happened, but Vince was absolutely furious that line made it to television, and he did talk to Sami Zayn afterward. I don't know what was discussed, but that's the story of what happened on Monday. Now, even though we've had many different reports on what happened Monday night, this seems like the most believable reaction backstage, as it was simply just a case of miscommunication backstage, with Zayn using the line even though he wasn't supposed to later on. Whilst the line was cut from WWE's YouTube and social media pages, viewers have told of it remaining in the reruns on Hulu. In other news, Jon Moxley's departure to AEW and speaking on the Talk Is Jericho show about the current state of the WWE seems to have caused some polarizing opinions backstage amongst WWE talent. It's recently been reported that a number of WWE superstars have shown very low morale due to not being used frequently enough on its shows, and seeing the same superstars at the forefront of the product every week, not giving others a chance. Jon Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose, spoke on the Talk Is Jericho show recently and discussed the current state of the WWE and how things are a complete mess right now with Vince running the show. He mentioned, "The WWE's creative process sucks. It doesn't work. I've said that to Vince. I've said that to Hunter, Michael Hayes. I can't even tell you how it works. It doesn't work. It's killing the company, I think. And I think Vince is the problem. Vince and the structure around him of writers and producers." No doubt a lot of WWE superstars feel this way, but are unable to leave due to their contracts. Wrestling's favourite curmudgeon Dave Meltzer recently spoke on this, as while some WWE talents are placated with big checks even though they're not being used, throwing money at others isn't going to solve issues backstage and make wrestlers re-sign as they want to be used properly and break out as a star. He mentioned, "I think that's what we've seen a lot lately is the exposing of the idea that everyone's happy there in WWE, which they're not. That it's a great happy family and it's not. They're more caring than they were in another generation. They're more talent friendly than they were in another generation, partially because right now they have to be. You see these guys and some guys they just throw the big money at, and they're gonna stay because they're still motivated by the big money or the uncertainty of the outside world of the mentality that if you're not in the world and you go to the other world, it doesn't count. Then you've got a lot of people who grew up with the idea that WWE wasn't the be-all and end-all, and if they're not happy, and there are a lot of guys that want to stay there, but you know there's a lot of guys that want to leave as well." Wrestling Insider WrestleVotes also backed up the report that talent agrees with Moxley's opinions on creative, and Vince McMahon tweeting, "For what it's worth, I've talked to several people connected to WWE regarding the Moxley Jericho podcast. They all agree with Mox. He's not saying anything others aren't thinking. One quote we got was, 'It's all true, it's a mess, and it's not changing anytime soon. Vince is Vince.'" Dave Meltzer also followed up with saying some talents wanting to leave WWE will shock you. There's way more that you are not aware of. I would go so far as to say that there are very few people, and you can count them on 1 to 2 hands, that have not at least inquired regarding what's outside, including names that would shock you. However, with so many wrestlers noticeably frustrated with the product and wanting to leave, which names would surprise you? Which wrestlers could be considered as shocking? Well, most of those WWE superstars looking to make the jump to AEW or even indie promotions are supposedly coming from NXT. Most have looked at AEW's lighter road schedule in comparison to WWE's, and also how long it would take for talent to get to the main roster, and if they eventually do, how well would they be booked? Meltzer mentioned, "There's the feeling in NXT among people that either it'll take so long to get to the main roster, and it's just harder to become a star in WWE because of how things are done. And there are people in NXT who kind of recognize that even if they are stars in NXT, unless there's a regime change, it's going to be hard to be on the main roster." This seems understandable, as judging by EC3's booking as of late, many stars like him will be just lost in the shuffle. Or in his case, Vince just souring on him with no reason at all. Ricochet, a man that has a massive amount of talent, has also been given the 50-50 booking treatment, which makes no sense. However, if a mass bunch of WWE talent start to defect over to AEW, won't the problem remain the same with a bloated roster, and this time less TV time? What are your thoughts on the situation? Who in your opinion would shock you by wanting to leave? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.